Okay, so I asked you, what do you know, what comes to mind if you hear of the word statistics, and we heard graphs, anything else? What do you need to come up with the graphs? Data, bunch of numbers. Right? Did you know that data is being collected of us every day in a number of ways? Some of them are quite intrusive. Your phones, right? Like often you will accept, right? Like when you read the fine print, you know how you just scroll down, then you say click accept. You're actually saying, hey, you can collect data. You can track how often I open the app, at what time of the day I open the app. You can track what I'm clicking on. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the technology is just around the corner where they keep track of where your eyes are looking at on the screen. Is it top right? Is it top left? Is it middle? Like what? Where are you most prone to look at? Right?
There's actually been talk of some phone bunch of apps do this, but they're saying that they're going to be able to track where your eyes are.
Yeah.
And if you look away when the ad's playing, it'll pause the ad so you
Oh.
can watch it.
Oh.
Which is kind of
And they might even track your facial expression, right? They might say, hey, on a Monday, based on your face right now, you're not all that cheery. So how can we cheer you up, right? Like what can we throw in your face right now to cheer you up? Anyways, yeah, that's what statistics does. It just like gathering data, but watch here, right? Branch of mathematics. So some of you might take courses in university, and statistics will be one of the requirements, which fulfills the math component of your degree. Okay. It involves collection, description, analysis, and inference of conclusions from that data that you've collected. Okay, and often it's quantitative data, right? So it's like it just keeps track of a number, but doesn't really have a quality to it, right? Doesn't really tell you how good it was or why that came to be. It's just like, hey, you spent 10 hours on your phone this last week. That's all it collects. It doesn't keep into account that, oh, maybe you were listening, to a speaker on YouTube and you were taking notes. It was like more studying than just being on it for no reason, right? So quantity is what it's all about. And so this is what we call a line plot. Okay, you can write this down. A line plot kind of allows us to gather it, right? Instead of having numbers all over a spreadsheet, we're actually gathering it and we're looking for some patterns, right? So in this case, we collected test scores, and you can see the spread, right, this way. So we're going to do a little bit of that, but also quite a bit of calculating. And some of these things, to be honest, at the beginning, you're going to be quite familiar with and will act as a review to a certain degree. So come with me to page 3. Just gonna turn off the lights here. So this unit will be done with this unit before the break. And then we have a shorter unit, which is geometry. I'm going to leave that till after the break. Okay, so have some highlighters ready to go. Okay, measures of central tendency. Okay, I'm going to use this quite often. And so for short, we refer to them as MCTs. Right? What do you think of when you read the word central? What part of that middle? Yes, middle. So these things that we're going to calculate and determine seek to find the middle of our data set. Some of them are successful, some of them are not successful. It depends on your data. And so the first thing we're going to do is, right, there's the arithmetic mean. That's what we know as the average. There's the median and mode. Do you remember these, mean, median, mode? I believe so. I believe you've done it multiple times up until now. So today is a bit of a review, to be honest. The measures of central tendency is a number. Let's highlight that. A number around which the set of data clusters. Okay, that's what central tendency is. So these MCTs, like mean, median, mode, Usually data will cluster around it, would be like closer around it, either on the low end or on the high end. In mathematics, there are several different measures of central tendency. The most common is the arithmetic mean, usually called the average. So arithmetic mean is also known as the average in everyday language. The arithmetic mean has the symbol X bar. Okay, I'm going to use that quite often. X with a bar on top. How is it found? I think you all remember this, right? You just add all the values and then you divide by the sum of the number of values. And it's summarized by this formula here. So I don't know if you need to have this on your study sheet. It won't hurt. It won't hurt. This is the biggest part that a lot of students forget, is you need to include units and round to 2 decimals still, even though it may not make a lot of sense. Like people are buying 1.5 Apple devices per person on average. You're like, what? 1.5? Like, what's up with that? Don't worry about the decimal so much, because it's kind of a way to comparing. Because if Samsung says, hey, we're better than you because we're selling 1.6 devices per household from Samsung products, overall it means that there are slightly bit more sold from Samsung products than Apple products. That's all that is saying. So it's kind of like a way to compare. Okay. So here we go. Patrick earned the following amounts over a period of 6 months. That's important, right? So from January to June. So here you have your amounts. They're not arranged, as you can tell, right? There's 800 here, and so it's all over the place. Calculate his average monthly income. Okay, average income. So we're going to do that. So to find the average, I will actually show my work here. 1500 plus 2300 plus 2200, 800, 2000, 2100. I won't expect you to show me all of this down the road. You can just come up with the sum. We call this the sum if you add stuff up, right? And how many values are we adding? You can count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or just look at 6 months. Many hints there, right? So if you add all of these up, I'm going to spare you the work there. You get $10,900 that he earned over a matter of 6 months. And I want to make a point here. Would you agree, right? The top were the dollar amounts, and the bottom number is technically how many months you're considering, right? That's why I have months. So our answer when we divide is going to be dollars per month, right? You're finding the average money you make. 67, right? Per month. That would be your units there. Average income. Average monthly income. Now you can tell that this is somewhat flawed, right? Because look at the actual income. There was a month where Patrick only made $800. So that's way below this. Okay? And then there are months where you made way or like quite a bit more. So this is saying, hey, if we were to spread these amounts evenly among all of the months that we considered, on average, if you grab any month randomly, you can expect to be making this much approximately, more or less, of course, right? So let's sketch this on a line. Let me, before I move on, I'm going a little bit too fast here. I'm going to grab different color. I'm just going to talk about outliers. Do you remember the word outlier or outliers? Okay. Well, what is that, right? Values that are significantly different than the general trend. Okay. And the word says that they lie outside the set. There can be more than one, right? That's another important part to highlight. I'm going to use a different color. There could be more than one outlier. So COVID, March 20th or thereafter, there's a bunch of outliers when it comes to people's incomes, right? Would you agree? A lot of people got laid off. So there were probably a month or two before until the government kind of figured out a plan where you made like very little. So you're like, whoa, what's up with that, right? So those would definitely be considered outliers when it comes to income. So which one would be the outlier in this set here? Which one is like weirdly low? This one, right? So I would actually say, I would argue that in this case, that would be your outlier. Okay. But more about that later on. Oh, I did say identify any outliers, so we're going to state that clearly here. Okay, so let's sketch this. So basically, try to go like, we're going to go right in the middle of the word January, and we're going to say the first month was $1,500. So let's just go up. 15 would be halfway between. Oh, let's do bar graphs. Should we? No, we'll just do dots. So 1,500 for January, 2,300 for February. So just kind of find the middle, February, and then go all the way to 2,300. This is 2,000. This would be 2,500 in between, right? So we're slightly less than that. So just approximately. And we have 2,200 for March. So it should be a little lower. Then we have, for April, we have 800. So that should be just under 1,000. For May, we have 2,000. So it should line up perfectly with 2,000. And 2,100 for June. So just above 2,000 there. And so you probably learned about bar graphs and histograms and all of that last year in grade 11. Pie charts, we did circle graphs. So all I'm going to do, maybe I'm going to use a red pen here. I like things to stick out, not to be too dull, right? So we can connect and see if there's a trend. And there it is, boom, right? It's definitely, it turned into a line graph, yes. But wouldn't you say that if we just looked at the numbers up here, it's not as informative as actually creating a graph, right? To see the trend. So it looked good at first, and then it slowly went down, and then boom, COVID hit, let's say. That's approximately right, after March. That probably inspired this question. And then it went back up and then slowly increasing again, right? So identify any outliers. April, right? We're just going to go arrow, $800. What would be a reason? It could be vacation. It could be layoffs. It could be illness. Hopefully not, right? But if I ever ask you, what is a possible reason for this outlier? What could possibly explain the outlier? Just use your imagination, what makes sense within the context, right? Yeah, you were told last year to always connect it, right? It doesn't have to be honest, but if it's, because that would be, in this case, it would be kind of, which we don't know for sure. So last year you just listened to your teachers and you just went with it. But this time, like this is totally fine. Okay. In fact, you're not going to do a whole lot of graphs in this course, so don't worry too much about it. You will do some from time to time. but not too many. Okay, let's move on. Morning. Grab a booklet. Page 4. Okay. Median and mode. So we're going to focus on median and mode a little bit. Those are the other two measures of central tendency. MMM, right? Mean, median, mode are the MCTs. I feel like I can write a rap song with those. So what's a median? It's the midpoint of an ordered data set. And can I say something else? This is, to me, a lot of students do not think about it this way. And I don't blame you. I'm just saying, I want to introduce this. Half of the values are higher and half of the values are lower. That's what a median is. If you find the median, you will essentially find out that half of the values are above it, half are below it, okay? So the government usually releases, programs for families, and they'll say this is based on a median income of, $60,000 for the family. What does that tell us? Oh, that means that half of families make more than 60,000 and half of families make less than 60,000. Because the government, let's face it, keeps track of our income. When we file our income tax, which you have to, they keep track of that. Okay. So median, here it is again, middle value. It is most easily found, right? Easily found when numbers are in ascending or descending order, or in other words, arranged. If there's an even number of values, then median is the average or mean of the two middle numbers. I will probably use a different color for that one. If there's an even number of values in the data set, then median is the average of the middle numbers. I like that part. Sure. First, arrange this set. I will usually choose my preferences going in ascending. So when you go up, descending is just go from largest to smallest. I usually go small to large. That's what I usually do. Okay. Two cases. Odd number of values. So maybe let's highlight that part. If you have an odd number of values, then just pick the middle number. Okay. So which one would be, is this a range? 2, 3, 6, 10, 12. I was nice enough to arrange this already. So data is arranged. I would say that's a must unless you really, like, I don't know, like later on there are more values, so I would arrange it. So in this case, that is our median. Median is 6 units, okay? So whatever that is, that's what we say, that's our median. Notice there are 2 below and 2 above it, right? So we're good. What if there's an even number of values though? Even number of values in the set. Then we must do something different. We have to calculate the mean of the two middle values. Underline middle, the two middle values like this. Okay. Can I just say something? Over here, n is equal to 5 values. The letter n stands for how many values there are in statistics. Okay. Over here, how many values? 2, 4, 6. N is equal to 6 values. And that is even. Okay. So is this arranged already? Yep. Data arranged. I won't always be that nice. Okay, so data arranged, first observation, and then we're like, hey, there are 6 values, so even, so this is a special case. So we have to merge these two. Okay, so the median is 6 plus 10. can I tell you to be really careful here? You first have to add 6 and 10. That's why I'm going to put brackets there. And then you divide whatever you get in half. You are essentially finding the average of these two numbers. You're going to find the middle between these two. Page 4. So that's 16 divided by 2, right? That is 8 units. This is your median. Okay. Is this part of your data set? Is this value actually found in your data set? No. But it is the middle. Because if 8 would be right here, half would be below it, half would be above it. Got it? Okay. What else can I say about this before I move on? Oh yeah, I'm gonna give you a trick. Morning. You can grab a booklet, Andre, if you heard me. You heard me? Yeah. Okay. You want the trick, guys? Okay. You didn't say yes or no. I'm just gonna give you the trick anyways. This is the cheat code. Trick. When you have an odd number of values, okay? When it's odd, page 4, you take 5 values, you divide it by 2, because you're basically folding your data set in half. What do you get if it's 5 divided by 2? What do you get? 2.5. All right. And so you have to just say it, therefore it's going to be the third value. Is it the third? If we count 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah, so it's the third value. I'm going to do something a little crazy here.
This means that if you know the number of values, so say you have like 31 values, you divide by 2 and take the
round it up. Exactly. You understand this trick? You will not find it in a textbook. Okay. This is just this is free. Okay. The third value, which is, if you don't like what I'm about to do here, don't do it. Okay. If it's messing up your notes, but you found that it is the third value. So let's say I give you 101 values. I'm not going to do that to you, but let's say I give you 101 values here. Oh, that's an odd number of values. What's 101 divided by 2? I need a calculator. It's early in the morning, right? 50.5, right? That means that it would be the 51st value. So you would have to count from your data set all of 51, and that would have been then your median there. Okay? What's the trick here? Trick, if it's even, it's a little more complicated than that, because if it's even, you're going to need to add 2 values. There's no way around it. So you take 6 values, divide it by 2, and what does that give you? 6 divided by 2 is the third, so you're going to have to take the third and the one that's right next to it, above it, which is the fourth, and divide that answer by 2. So 6 divided by 2 gives you the fact that you need to start with the third value, then you're going to add one up from it, which is the fourth, and divide that answer by 2. Say what? What just happened, Mr. Dixon? You just made it more complicated for me, to be honest. Why would you do that, right? I'm just trying to give you a trick when it's bigger values. I think when it's small enough like this, you probably won't use the trick. Okay. So I'm just going to make a change to because I can see this being, I'm going to make this arrow, 6 divided by 2, I'm going to make that go here. Okay. So if this had been 8 values, that's even. 8 divided by 2, then it would be the fourth here and the fifth. You need to add the fourth and the fifth if there had been 8 values. the third and the fourth. So, right, if it's arranged 1, 2, 3, so it's the third and the fourth, add them up. So this is just telling you which two numbers you're going to add in your actual set. Okay, so some students are like, oh, 6 divided by 2, it's 3 plus 4, that's 7 divided by 2, it's 3.5. Like, no, it's not. This is just telling you which two numbers do you need to add here. Right? In this case, it's 6 and 10 to get your median. Okay. Another thing I need to warn you is that you're going to have some negatives. When it comes to temperature, we're going to have to work with negatives. But some of you have calculators that make that a breeze. Okay. All those things we'll figure that out. Okay. All right. I want you to find the median of these two sets. I do it right away because I need you to know how to do it. By the way, they're both arranged. Let me just check. Yeah, they're both arranged. So you just need to figure out the median for this one and the median for this one. Go ahead and show me the work if it's necessary. Terrible. Well, you know, sometimes students doubt because like, it can't be the same. Well, why not? Why can it not be the same, right? Okay, so this is what I would like you to show. I know some of you are still fresh to this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Write down saying n is equal to 7 values. We don't know what this represents. We have no idea. But we know that there are 7 values. That is what? That's odd, right? So what you can do is you can just, the trick is 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. So it's the fourth value is going to be my median. Okay, so I count 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of you just circle it as like it's this one. There's nothing wrong with it. To be honest, if you know which one it is, the bingo, just go for it. Okay, next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. N is equal to 8 values. I think I would rather you focus on this than getting it right because I think you can figure it out, right? So this is even. So 8 divided by 2, you know you're going to have to add 2 values, correct, guys? And divided by 2. There's no way around that. So this is going to give you the fact that you need to add the fourth and the fifth. And you add them and divide it by 2. That's what you're going to have to do to figure out your median. It's already arranged. So you can only do this when it's arranged. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's these two here. 6 plus 10 divided by 2. That's 16 divided by 2, which is 8 units. That's my median. Half of the values are above 8. Half of the values are below 8. You're good. Okay. N stands for, in statistics, is the number of values. The number of values, yeah. So that's why N, you know what, if N throws you off, just say 7 values. Like, just tell me how many values there are, and I'm fine with that. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. What do we have next? The mode. Okay, so this is going to be a little interesting here. I think you know what the mode is, but it can be somewhat tricky to determine. Okay, so grab your highlighters. This is on page 5, right? What's the mode? Is the number that occurs most often. It's the most popular number. Okay? But if I just kept it at that, some of you would probably still get it wrong because there are some nuances to mode in statistics. Okay, so you could have no mode if each number appears the same number of times. Okay, so if you, for example, had a data set, just write this down: 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Do you think there's a mode there? There is not one number that exceeds everybody else, right? Every number occurs twice. So what you would do here is mode is NA, not applicable. Don't say 0 because then you're telling me that 0 is the most popular number, which is wrong. Okay. Error is mode is equal to 0. That's not correct. Not correct. Okay. One mode if one number occurs most often than the others. So if you had 2, 2, 3, some repetition here, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5. Which one is the more popular here? 4 is the winner. So in this case, mode is equal to 4 units. It could be hours worked. It could be, the combo that is most ordered, combo number 4, right? We don't know, but that's what it is. Mode is 4 units. A number of modes, if 2 or more numbers occur the same number of times, and it is the greatest number in the entry. Okay, so if you had 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 7, 7, 7, 11, 20. What would be your mode? Is there just one mode? In this case, there's actually 2 appears 3 times, 7 appears 3 times. So you actually have 2 modes. What about the 3? No, 3 only appears 2 times, right? So it doesn't quite work. Okay. So mode would be 2, 7, and 7 units. Hey, quick question. What would be the median in this data set? It's already arranged. What would be the median? Using my trick or whatever, if you just want to. It's arranged, correct? Yeah. What's the median? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Even. So I'm going to do my trick. 10 divided by 2. That tells me I have to add the 5th and the 6th and divide by 2, correct? So what's the 5th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 and 7 is 10. Divided by 2 is 5. So 5 would be the median here. But I'm not going to go there. I just want you to quickly have a go at it. Okay. When would you want to use your mode, guys? When is mode a good idea? Well, I want to make a bit of a note here. Mode is sometimes a bad middle. It doesn't do a good job at finding the middle. It does not necessarily always lie in the center. But when would you want to use that? Particularly if you are a store owner and you would want to find out which t-shirt is the most popular, like the size of the t-shirt or the size of skates or the size of shoes, right? If that's what you want as a store owner, you probably want to order more of those, right? You don't care. Like it wouldn't make sense, right? If you sell sizes 9, 10, and 11, would it make sense to find the average of the 3? I don't think so. You would want the exact size, right? So let's say size 9 is the most frequently ordered. You would want to go with the mode to kind of determine the most popular. So mode isn't always a good center, but it can be. It can often be towards the middle as well. Okay, let's keep going. Here, come with me to page 6. Let's put this to the test, everything we've just learned. Calculate the mean, median, and mode of the following data sets. And I also want you to identify any outliers if applicable. This is something I added just for you, like this class. You're the first group that has this little note here. I want you to start identifying if there are any outliers, something that's outside of the norm, outside of what you observe. Be careful with that one. And I did add units to all the data sets because I think we need to start thinking about that. What do we call mean, median, and mode collectively? What are we referring to them as collectively? You can peek in your notes. Measures of central tendency. Okay, so these are referred to as the MCTs. Like if you ever go to universities, like, hey, we're gonna learn about the measures of central tendencies, they're usually talking about mean, median, and mode. Okay. Okay, I will tell you one thing. I want you to find it for all of them, but make sure you arrange data sets. Okay, you need to arrange them before you do that, because for median and mode, it is very beneficial, very helpful to have them arranged. I will show you one because I feel like I just expect you to do it, and then students get one number wrong and it affects them and they're frustrated. So here, can I just show you how I would do this? Okay, watch what I'm going to do. What's the smallest? 0. So this is what I do. Cross it off, write it down. Don't do the just picking numbers because you're going to miss one when they get bigger. Okay, what's the next one? 3, correct? Cross it off, write it down. It's the next one. 6, cross it off, write it down. 7, cross it off, write it down. I wrote it down, then crossed it off, so I gotta be careful. 8, cross it off, write it down. 12, cross it off, write it down. 19, cross it off, write it down. That's how I would do it if I were you, because once you have 10, 12, 20 numbers, believe me, you're gonna make mistakes if you don't do it this way. And then this is one last check. Watch. You know how to count by twos, right? 2, 4, 6, 7. I counted 7 up here. 2, 4, 6, 7. I have 7 and 7. Another way that I would suggest, check and make sure you have enough values. Now go ahead and find your mean, median, mode. Do it for all of these on this page, and I will continue after that. If you're bored, if you're done, there's more. There's a bigger one on the other side already. I'm actually going to say just do pages 6 and 7 for now, okay? But I will probably stop at one point and just make. Okay, so here's what I would expect you in terms of work, what I would expect you to show me, right? So you arranged it. To find the mean, all you would have to, like, you add up all these numbers here. And we have what? N is how many values? 7, right? 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 values. I think it's important to note that. Okay, and then so then I will add these up, and that gives me 55. And I will divide it by 7. Okay, this is the minimum I would require you to show me. And that ends up being 7.86 hours. And it could be per day, per shift, it doesn't matter. We don't quite know the entire context. Okay, for median, you use the trick or no? I don't think you need it here. 7, right? You have 3 to the below it. You've got 3 above, so 7 units. Page 6, guys, okay? Median is 7. And what's my mode? NA. There is no mode. Everything appears just once. Okay? Possible outlier. Outlier or outliers. What would you say? Some students would be tempted to pick 0, but if you think about it, 0 is not that far away from 3, right? And 3 is not that far away from 6, so these are actually close together. You could possibly argue that 19 is an outlier. 19 hours, okay? I will promise you that down the road, the outlier will be very obvious. It would be like, let's say in this case, it would have been like 45. It's like 45, it's like, whoa. Everything is in the, like, up to 19, all of a sudden you've got 45, that's an outlier, okay? So this is what it is. Let me explain a little bit here, or maybe I'll just say about the median. Can we write next to the median this part? Half of the time you work less than 7 hours. Half of the time more than 7 hours. That's what that means. If I ever ask you to explain what does the median represent in this case, I know it's a bit small, right? But half of the time you work less and half of the time you work more than 7 hours. That's what this number represents. Oh, why did I put units? Sorry, guys. It's supposed to be hours, right? We know that it's hours. So let's put hours next to the median here. Okay. Make sure that your mean, your average is 2 decimals, okay? No matter what, you round it to 2 decimals. Whether it is people, boxes, it doesn't matter. We leave it like that. What about the next one? I will quickly arrange this. So I have 3 112s here. I've done this already, so I will maybe be a little bit faster than you would have been. Then it's 129. Then it's another 129 here. And 145. And 167. And 193, right? And I'm just checking 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got 8 values. Bingo. That's even, right, by the way. You should probably make a note of that. And so my average, if I add it all up, I get 1,099 divided by 8. So that ends up being 137.38 centimeters on average. We don't know if this what this represents. Is it days? Is it, we don't know. Is it the amount of growth per day for a certain plant? For a sunflower, that'd be a lot, by the way. But anyways, we don't know. How fast a snail goes from one point to the other, we don't know. Okay. My median, I don't like you to show the trick here. The median, you can just go 8 divided by 2, which will give you, tells you that you need to take the fourth and the fifth and divide it by 2. Okay, so this is just to tell you what to do. And then you come over here and you count 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, they're both the same number. What's going to happen there? It's going to be 129. The average between 129 and 129 is 129, by the way. So you're going to get 129 centimeters. Did I get that right? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. And then the mode, what's the mode here? Going once, going twice. It is 112, right? 112 centimeters. Is 112 the middle at all? Nope. So not the middle, right? It's actually on the low end. Middle is somewhere here. Median actually gives you a pretty good indication where the middle is most of the time. So most popular appears 3 times. And so that's, we'll just leave it at that. Next, temperature. I wonder how you did here. So the smallest number is -7. So I'm going to cross it off, -7. This one you should pay attention to. Next would be -4. And then you have 2 -2s. And then I go 3, and then 5, and then, oh, there's 2 3s. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Just finding my mistakes, eh? That's good. I don't mind that. I used to be like, oh no, that's okay. Then students are paying attention. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Oh, yeah. And that's with my key in front of me, which says 5, 7, 12. Right? Anyways, I'm just showing you what could go wrong, you know, all the possible things that can go wrong. Anyways, but see how I caught it when I counted, right? That's when I really, and and Colton mentioning it. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we're good now. Okay, so the average, have you been able to do this? I don't know how you would do it with your calculator, but I would go -7, -4, -2, -2, +3, +3, +5, +7, +12. That's one way of doing it. And you get 15 positive divided by 9. Right, so you divide that by 9 and you get 1.67 degrees Celsius. So this would be your average temperature over a 9-day period, right? So on average, our temperature is 1.67 degrees Celsius. What's my median? This is odd, right? I should have made note of that. 9 values. That's odd, which makes it a little bit easier to find your median. So I will just go 9 divided by 2, which is 4.5. So it's the 5th value is your median when it's arranged. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's this one, 3 degrees Celsius. And just to make sure you did it right, count 1, 2, 3, 4 values below it, 1, 2, 3, 4 values above it, so you know you're right. And then the mode, -2 and 3, yeah, -2 degrees Celsius, sorry, and 3 degrees Celsius. Those are our two modes there. If there had been one more -2, let's say, then the only mode would have been -2, right? Like if there had been 3 of these. So it depends. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you to do page 7 and go as far as you can. Go as far as you can. But I will post all of those. Lots of values there. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge to arrange it. I'm not going to lie to you. And on page 8, there's another one with a bunch of negatives. Right? So you got to figure that one out. So it's very good practice because guess what? You're going to get negatives on ACs and whatnot. So that's it. Page 7 to, I will post 7 to 9. Okay. Try pages 7 to 9. I would say try at least page 7 before the class ends. And the rest you do whenever you have some time. Thank you guys.